Hi, this is Jeff King with rampmetrics. I'm going to do a quick overview on multi-touch attribution. And the focus here of this presentation is going to be on this concept that we call continuous attribution. But this also doubles as a good multi-touch attribution 101 overview presentation if you'd like to learn about that. So let's jump right in and look at Pied Piper. We've got a deal in our pipeline, $50,000. They're just down the road here in Palo Alto. And we want to say, hey, what was marketing's impact? So we go in and look at the lead source, and the lead source says ranking. And as the marketer, it's like, oh boy, okay, we know we put a lot of effort into this deal, and the lead source says ranking. Also, the investors are taking credit for this deal, but we know that the marketing team put a lot of effort into this. So let's go in and dig into it. So as you peel it back, you realize that there's lots of marketing things going on there. So we met Richard back at an executive event that actually was introduced by the investors. He has a total of 3 touches so far. So Jared started doing his homework. It looks like he's got 4 marketing touches. Dinesh doing the tech deep dive. He's got 2. Looks like he went to a code fest. So you've got 3 people with a total of looks like 9 touches. Each of those touches having their own characteristics. And so let's now kind of connect it to that opportunity. So what are the questions we want to know? Like, what was the first? What was the last? And keep in mind, it's a really dynamic environment. So when this opportunity first started, it was just with Richard, the initial introduction, and then Jared got introduced, Dinesh got added on later on. So the number of people that are influencing this deal is changing and is dynamic. Also, the number of touches for each of the individuals is potentially rapidly changing. So going from 1 touch to 2 and on and on. I mean, it's possible for each of these individuals to have anywhere from 5 to 15 touches, right? So then, if you kind of fillet it out and look at the deal, in this case, $50,000. We've got 9 touches, and somehow we have to make sense of this, right? How do we do the attribution? So attribution is simply connecting the people engaging with our campaigns and then looking at the financial impact of that connection, right? So there's one way to look at it is called engaged opportunity, or first opportunity. So the idea is that you look at the touches that happen before or the same as the opportunity created, so that initial piece there, and then we cut off anything that happened in the attribution model and that happened after the opportunity was created. That's one way to look at it. The other way, you can take a longer view and go all the way from engaged to close. What you're picking up there is what sometimes people call nurturing, or like marketing nurturing on existing opportunities. And this is very helpful for companies that create opportunities very quickly, and in their marketing to sales process. If you create opportunities very quickly, you may really like having visibility into this engage to close. If you take a long time to create the opportunities, you may prefer the engaged opportunity create. But it's really just a matter of choice. Our automated system gives you the way to see. You can look at both ways. The other thing it's doing in terms of the attribution is there's an algorithm that does the distribution. So you see the little dollar signs here. It figures out the attribution and applies a model to that, and it distributes the credit across the touches. Another thing that's really interesting is continuous attribution for MQL. So it's a really common question that we've gotten for 5+ years as marketing analytics consultants, is what was that campaign that tipped them over to be an MQL, or what was that first campaign for our MQLs? And so if you think of MQLs as like a business milestone and you do attribution against that, one thing that's very dynamic about this environment is that MQL threshold can be changing. So usually when you're earlier stage, you pretty much MQL everything right out of the gate. But as you started to get more leads, you typically want to raise that bar of engagement. And so it's a very dynamic environment, and that MQL threshold is changing, and the automated system needs to be able to deal with that and still apply the attribution. So this is an example of one of our screens where it kind of all comes together, and we produce an opportunity journey, and we're very transparent about the way that the data, we show the way the math is done and everything, so that you see the number of people, you see the touches, you can see the first and the last, the velocity. You can see we actually show the way the attribution is distributed across the touches. And then for big picture, we're looking at some interesting big picture stats. So average number of touches given the time period or the filtering that I'm doing on this screen, or the average velocity from first to create or first to close. So the velocity question and the number of touches was like the marketing effort to get that deal are interesting metrics to show, like in a board presentation, bigger picture kind of conversations. So that's where I kind of combined a one-on-one of multi-touch attribution and sprinkled in some of our unique continuous attribution concepts. And then so if you want to talk attribution, be happy to chat with you. We could talk about all the different choices and options for doing that. My email is jeff@rampmetrics.com, and I appreciate your time.